Hello, welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriet Cole, and I'm delighted to be with you today. Here in New York City, it is chilly. There is a wonderful fall chill in the air. It's sweater weather. How is it where you are? It feels really nice, the change of the seasons. I love that the seasons change because it reminds us that we can reset, that we can renew our commitment to whatever it is that drives us, that we have the ability to step in, step up, and claim whatever it is we want for our lives. And I don't know, the change of the season somehow serves for me as sort of cold water in the face or cool water in the face. Sometimes it could be cold. Sometimes it's like we need a slap a little bit. Other times it's more gentle. We are living in a time, depending upon where you physically live, there's a whole lot of crazy weather going on. And where I am, it's gentle and mild. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. Thanks for being with me today. As you all come in, I'm just thinking about nature and how it talks to us and how it inspires us to pay attention to the moment that we're in and often to readjust and to consider how we might want to course correct in this particular moment. Have you had those thoughts about course correcting, what you can do to improve your state of mind, your state of being, your pocketbook, your wallet, your home, your relationships? What matters the most to you? If you could identify what matters the most, if you could just pick one thing, what would that one thing be? I want you to think about that for a moment. What is the one thing that you would pick if you could only pick one thing to say, this is what you care about the most? And is it something you're willing to fight for? So we're thinking about being in this refreshed state where nature is supporting us to open our eyes wherever we are. And we're opening them and saying, what am I willing to fight for? What is most important in my life? And why am I having us think about this today? Because I have discovered that we often just sort of, in our busyness or lack thereof, the days go by, the weeks go by, the months go by, and we have this thing in our head that we say we want to work on that is very important to us. And somehow it often takes a back seat. It goes on the back burner. And then we go, ooh, I just remembered. Has that ever happened to you? Where you were gung-ho about something. It was so important to you. And then something happened. You got distracted. You got tired. Something occurred and you didn't keep your focus. Has that ever happened to you? It has happened to me so many times. And that's why I want us to think today about fighting for what we want, fighting for what we believe we need and deserve. And I have a quote. Let me tell you this quote that I found, and it is from Alice Walker, the beloved novelist, thinker, writer. And she says, if you want to have a life that is worth living, a life that expresses your deepest feelings and emotions and cares and dreams, you have to fight for it. Let me read you that again. Alice Walker says, if you want to have a life that is worth living, a life that expresses your deepest feelings and emotions and cares and dreams, you have to fight for it. Are you fighting for all those things for yourself? Are you engaged in that battle on a daily basis? You know, years ago when I started practicing meditation, so this is 1990 is when I started practicing meditation. And I went to a weekend retreat that is called an intensive. And the title of it was The Battle That Must Be Fought. Just remembering it now as we're talking about this fighting. And so this is a spiritual immersion that I participated in. And through much guidance and spiritual practice, meditation, chanting, breathing, going deep, deep, deep inside, we were exploring what it means to fight the spiritual battle to become your best self. Because we know there's so many distractions. There's so many things that come before our vision that stand in the way of us being in total alignment with our greatness, with even recognizing it, seeing that it's even there. And in this spiritual deep dive, we just had so many views in to how to stay strong and to practice our faith, to connect and reconnect and connect and reconnect to the greatness inside of us, to trust that it's there, and to move forward with a clear intention that we are worth the fight. We're worth that spiritual fight for us to be in alignment with God and with God's will. So essentially, this is what Alice Walker is saying. Let me read it to you again. If you want to have a life that is worth living, a life that is worth living, a life that expresses your deepest feelings and emotions and cares and dreams, you have to fight for it. Hey, I think that's a worthwhile fight. But guess what, you guys? Sometimes it literally feels like you're fighting. Sometimes you have to fight off thoughts. Sometimes you have to fight off people. I mean, look, literally you could have to physically fight off people, but more than the physical, the connection. Who are the people in your life who are distractions, who are not helping you to stay in alignment? You can fight them off, let them go. Hang up the phone, shut down the email, turn off the TV. What are the distractions that are keeping you away from the path toward your best self? What are they? You know what they are. We have been quarantined for so long. If you haven't yet figured out at least some of the things that are distractions for you, it just means you're not paying attention. So pay attention now. It's not too late. Right now, you can choose to pay closer attention to the factors, the people, the experiences, the responsibilities, the distractions that fill your day. And you can look at them and decide, is this important? Is this important? Can I let this go? Should I hold on to this? What are the things that are essential for your life's journey and what things are not? And the things that are not, you can let go of, and the things that are worthwhile and essential, fight to keep them. Fight to keep the relationships that matter. Do what you need to do to nurture them so that they're strong. A lot of times what people do is, and this is such a weird, odd thing, but it's true. The people you love the most, the people who should be the closest to you, are the ones that you ignore. You take them for granted. Have you ever done that? You don't have to tell me, tell yourself. Have you ever not tended to the feelings and needs of the people you love the most? Because, well, they're there. They might live in your house. They might be your parents who live many miles away. They might be friends who you met at one stage in your life and now they're somewhere else. Who are those people who are your core? And do you tend to them well? Do you? I want to believe that we can, and that we can improve how we engage our relationships with others because we choose to fight for them. And I'm going to go back one more time. I want you to think about this. The people you care about the most, your family, your significant other, spouse, partner, your extended family, the best friends that you have made on this journey of your life, do you tend to those relationships, or do you take them for granted? I got a call this weekend from a very close friend, someone I met when I first moved to New York, and I owe him a call back. We worked together when I first moved to New York and became family. And we don't talk to each other often, but when we do, it's always that reconnection of family. And it was a reminder. We're family. We love each other. I need to close that loop. How many times have you known that you need to close a loop, that it's time for you to touch base, catch up, reconnect with someone, and you didn't do it, and then the person's gone? Or the relationship might be fractured because you've been the one who hasn't been paying attention. Has that ever been you? If you're honest with yourself, the chances are that it has been you. There may be people you spend a lot of time paying attention to, and then what about the other ones? And I'm not in any way suggesting that you should have a big group of folks who, relationships that you are having to water, and nurture. My mother said, you can count your friends on one hand if you're lucky. So it's not that you have to have this massive group. It is, who are those people? What are those relationships that matter? And are you cultivating them? Are you fighting for them? And if they're people who live in your home, are you taking advantage of them? Are you ignoring them? Are you taking them for granted? If it's possible that you are, reset. Decide that you're going to fight for them. Fight for that connection because it's worth it. Sometimes the fight is fierce. Sometimes trust is broken down and you have to rebuild it. That's one of the hardest things to rebuild, is trust. If you want it, if you believe it's worth it, and you fight for it, there's a very good chance you can rekindle whatever that bond is and move forward with it. Same for if it's just you and yourself. What do you need to fight for in order to be your best? During COVID, and what we're doing right now, we have been sitting in front of screens for hours. Do you need to fight for your body to get up and move? I have to tell you something. I've said this before. I'm so grateful that my work is busy, and so I'm engaged with this screen so often, but I was not getting up enough and my legs started hurting. Does that happen to you? My watch tells me stand up every hour. It shouldn't have to do that. I should be standing up every hour. But many of us are stuck in front of this screen. So I recommitted to my walking practice, which I had been very good at for a long time. And I'm back out walking in the park. I walk with my neighbor and friend. We motivate each other to move. And I feel so much better. At first, during COVID, I was afraid to go outside. I really was. And at all, except to go to the grocery store or to the doctor. And pretty much that was it. And then my doctor said, no, you can walk. Just make sure that you take good care, wear protective covering, keep your distance, all the things, and always do it. And so I have started walking again. And, when I was walking all the time, I was up to 6 or 7 miles a day. Now I'm up to 3. You start off slow and keep it moving, but what are you doing? That's part of my fight. Fight for me to be as strong and healthy as possible. What about you? What's on your fight list? What do you care about so much that you're willing to fight for it? And I want you to write these things down. And I just created a Facebook group, a Dreamleapers Inspiration Facebook group. And I want you to join it because, I've been saying to you guys, write and tell me what you're doing. Tell me if you remember, I mentioned a month or so ago, well, I remember exactly. It was almost a month ago when my niece had her baby, and we were talking about birth, and that's a 40-week cycle. And I suggested that we take 40 weeks to bring an idea, a project to fruition. And I ask you to track your progress and share it with me sometimes. And a few people have. But I think sharing broadly on the Facebook page, it's for everybody, may not be your thing. So I created a Dreamleapers Inspiration group. And you just look it up on Facebook, Dreamleapers Inspiration, and join. And what I'd love for you to do is share what is coming up for you. Like, we do these inspirations. Each time we do, I give you some kind of homework. Let's share with each other how we've done. So today's fight for it. What are you going to fight for? What deep down in your bones is telling you, this is what I need to work on right now? My fight is X. What is it? Figure out what it is, and then be willing to claim it. And part of claiming it is writing it down and sharing it with others. And I say that because accountability is something that we think about a lot at Dreamleapers. How can I be accountable for what I've put out into the world? If you share it with somebody else and you have an accountability partner, it makes it a lot easier for you to do what you said you were going to do. Just like I said with my walking. I've been walking with my neighbor. For years, we've been walking together, not always every day, but so we have re-engaged. And yesterday, I was just ready to be still because I've been working so much. And it was day off, and I was ready to be still. We had walked the day before, and she called me and texted me, "Come on, girl, the outdoors is waiting for us." And she suggested it in a gentle enough way that I didn't feel bullied. I felt encouraged. It took me not long at all to make up my mind to fight for me to get up and do. And we did. And we walked our 3 miles, and it was amazing. And then continued with our day. What are you willing to fight for? Is there a relationship? Is there a job, a project, an activity like my walking for your physical body? What? I want you to share on this Dreamleapers Inspiration group page what you're willing to fight for. State what it is and state one thing that you're willing to do that will help you to stay in alignment with your fight. Will you do that? Just go to that page, Dreamleapers Inspiration Group, and then you can see there how we share with each other. I just started it yesterday, so it's brand new. But we will be sharing with each other what comes up for us, what lessons we're learning, and how we can move forward. And we can be accountability partners for each other. I find that is extremely helpful. I'm going to read you this quote one more time before we go, because I love it. This is an Alice Walker quote, and she says, "If you want to have a life that is worth living, a life that expresses your deepest feelings and emotions and cares and dreams, you have to fight for it." Yeah. So let's do it, you guys. Let's fight for our best life. Pick one thing that you want to fight for today. Write it down and share it on the Dreamleapers Inspiration Facebook group. And I'll write mine too. We'll see you again soon. Until then, have a great day and make it count. Namaste.